Oh, holy shit. I'm not in my room by myself. Well, yeah, I'm still in my room by myself, but I have a host. I'm a host this time. Finally, once again, it's not just me ranting. I'm going to leave the ranting to someone else. I told you he was coming. I told you to check him out. I introed him in the last podcast. This is Game Dad Chronicles, aka my boy, Eric Guzman. I don't even know if you want the government out there like that. Please intro yourself.
We can have it out in the streets. The streets know. Yo, it's been a while since we've done this. It's been during lockdown. We had the podcast game on lock. We were doing our thing. It's been a while. I'm happy to be here. I love everything you're doing on the YouTube. I love everything you're doing on Twitch. I want to see you blow up because you've been killing it. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Game Dad Chronicles. That's the rebrand. GDC.
GDC, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, likewise, man. I like what you're doing. We in this whole concept thing together. I'm hoping this cross-pollination thing works. I'm hoping people check you out based off this. I hope people from your followers come over here and, you know, we cultivate a nice audience together. I'm not trying to be AMP or not like that, like the in the 30s version, just like Duke Dennis and like his friends. But like, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say if one of us could at least just blow up where I could call you like, yo, man, I need a couple dollars.
Right.
I'm happy. Yo, take me to one of these events. Take me to Comic-Con with you. As long as we can do that, I'm happy. I can't be famous, man. I
bro. Bro, my famous words when it comes to this, I'm good with 10K, bro. Just give me a nice little audience. I'm cool. I'm hoping y'all join this nice ride with us. But we are not here on like very happy terms. This is the week that the Switch 2 got its official Nintendo Direct. We got price points. And notice how I said price points first. We got games, we got a little bit in depth on the specs, and you know, while the presentation was very nice, while the presentation showed you all of the good on the back end, once you stopped watching and you went on the internet and read the fine print, oh boy, is there a second half to this story. I'm sure you don't need me to regurgitate the news to you, but stuff is looking pretty expensive over there over at Nintendo. And this is before we get into the news we woke up to today. It is, of course, Friday. What's today? April, what's that? 4th? Yeah. So, I don't know if April 4th will go down in history or one day on the Wikipedias, but things aren't looking well. The U.S. slapped the world with a whole lot of tariffs. I think the entire world, save for like Russia.
Except Russia. Like,
wink, nudge, nudge. Yep. So I've been ad nauseum the last few podcasts. It's just gone from me just talking about games I'm looking forward to this year to like, oh my goodness, the government's out to get you. I feel like I'm putting on a tin hat every time I sit down to do a podcast. Listen. They're coming, they're here. But listen, I don't want to go on yabbering. There's another person here, a whole different set of intelligence. You please, Eric, tell me how you feeling about Nintendo, how you feel about the price points, the game as a whole, the system as a whole, and then the back end news we got after that. And then today, what we woke up to. Just let me know how you're feeling.
I keep thinking about it because it's rough. I woke up for this Direct. I was really excited. I wasn't this excited for the PS5. I wasn't this excited for the Xbox. I woke up really like, yeah, we're gonna get some good stuff. And we did for the most part. And then Walmart's like, hey, here's the games. Because Nintendo didn't mention anything about pricing, like you said. And I saw the first inkling of something weird was going on was when they were like, Switch game upgrades. You'll have to pay for them. And I said, wait, why are we paying for? I already own Tears of the Kingdom. I have to pay more to play it in 4K. So I said, you know what? Sony's done it. I guess that's status quo. But then things got really weird once I saw Mario Kart World, $79.99.
Yeah, that's the one that kind of got me. It was like, man, we doing this with Mario Kart?
I didn't get it because then we've heard the rumors that Rockstar is going to push GTA 6 at 99.99.
Right.
I went on a whole rant and now I look like a fool because everyone thinks I'm the Nintendo fanboy, which I sort of I have a small bias. And Nintendo's the one leading the charge. And if they did it, everyone else is like, hey, Nintendo did it, we could do it.
Yeah, that's the shocking thing to me. I always the things that I've been reading is publishers are waiting for Rockstar, waiting for Take-Two to pull the trigger on this because they know that they can just do whatever they want, write their own ticket with this GTA 6 thing coming. But Nintendo said, "Hold my beer. I'll take your spot." And I don't know if that's a bigger flex than Rockstar doing it or not. It probably is. The more I think about it.
Yeah, but it also, I think they were prepping us for this. People, and this is me being a conspiracy theorist and overanalyzing, but last week they announced a virtual game key or game card, whatever that you could borrow each other's digital games. I said, okay. And then during the presentation, they said, hey, you could have one copy of the game in the household and everyone could share that copy digitally. And I said, okay, so they're pushing digital and they're letting us borrow each other's games. Why? Like, why are they've never done anything like this? That I was like, this is very consumer friendly of them.
Right.
And now I know why. Because they're like, hey, here, we're gonna hit you with this $80 schlong. So you're gonna have to hold it and it's gonna price out a lot of people, dude.
It also kind of destroys the physical the physical gamers out there who buy physical games just so they have the game and nothing like data swipe ish or software ish can tie it really can make you be unable or able to play the game at the discretion of Nintendo at any point. And now this is just, it feels like a digital leash almost. The more I think about it.
No, that's exactly it. And this is me being the tech person that I am. It's an easier way to get information from people. Look at how they're doing the whole pre-order thing. You have to opt into sharing your info with Nintendo. So if you leave that digital footprint, so now they know how to advertise. Now they know how to market towards you. But I also think it's where things are headed. They're sticking to cart. I whatever they're doing that, and they announced the game keys, carts that just have a license on them, and they've been around since the Switch. With I remember Mega Man Legends. I had to download like the whole game once I installed it on the Switch. But to me, it sort of seems like everyone, including Nintendo now, which was like they're the guys that made you buy physical cartridges, are saying no, come into the digital world. They're trying to like force us there.
Well, yeah, this just goes back to my whole grand scheme of not just the gaming world, but the entire world pushing to renting over ownership, where you buy these games, you think you own them, but a quick software update can render whatever you have completely useless.
We've seen it happen. We saw it happen with the PT demo, that famous Kojima PT demo. Someone's offered me like $1,000 for my PS4 because I still have it on there, and we saw that happen. And but it leaves an even more sour taste in my mouth because you think about it. We had that Sony outage a few weeks ago, like a month ago, and what are you telling me is if my license isn't up to date? That's what happened to me. I couldn't play some of my digital games on my PS5 because it was like, yeah, your license hasn't checked in, and I'm like, wait, what are we doing here?
Right. Yeah. That's how this kind of whole thing kind of spurred with me. Is like I noticed that, and then I noticed back in January, and it kind of went over people's head that people couldn't even access Marvel Snap because it was part of the whole TikTok ban.
Oh yes, you're right.
So like it's been in the water since January.
I didn't think about that. And then I think this is where I was getting a bit upset. There were people defending this by saying games were more expensive in the 90s. And sure, games were very expensive in the 90s. I'll give them that, all right? But let's talk about the economy in the 90s. Disposable income was a lot more, and maybe it wasn't for me and you, our families, because I grew up poor. But I'll tell you how we got around it. Last year, the industry made $52.6 billion, the console industry, and then Steam made another 46, and that was down 4% from like 56.7 or something. So it's not like the industry is lacking money. And then in the 90s, you would buy a game and you owned it. You bought it once, you owned it. You weren't going to get smacked with microtransactions. You weren't going to get smacked with loot boxes, skins. And on top of that, you had all these options. And this is where Nintendo shoots itself in the foot. You always had the options to wait for games to go on sale. You had the option to go to Funkoland. You had the option to go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, wherever you rented movies and games. Nintendo is notorious for never putting their games on sale.
Right.
So what do we do? Like, let's be honest, Isaac. Why do we buy Nintendo consoles? It's not for the third-party games.
This is definitely not for them third parties.
And now that we're talking about it, my head's starting to spin. That's why we're seeing this big third-party support, like this big push. We saw Cyberpunk. We saw the Bloodborne sequel. People aren't saying it's a sequel. It's a sequel.
Yeah.
We're seeing that big push. We saw Final Fantasy Remake. They're trying to get into that third-party market because, hey, if your games are $80, $90, not a lot of people are going to be able to buy them full price. I won't be buying every game full price at $80, $90. I can't do it.
Like, yeah, same. Especially with the Nintendo catalog, I'm already, gamers, not just me, not just you, gamers, they're one of the most savvy consumers out there. They study their product. They are in tune with the development process. They pay attention to every presentation, every trailer. If things are not up to par, they will call you out on it, and they will wait and wait and wait. But with Nintendo, you cannot do that. Breath of the Wild is still $59.99 no matter what you do. And you're right, third parties do kind of offset that. These games they've been available for years now. They've been on several platforms already. I'm actually really interested to see what the tarnished edition of Elden Ring looks like on the Nintendo Switch. I'm wondering what that's like.
I'm curious about that also.
But I won't be getting that until it's on sale, and I know it'll be on sale.
It's third party.
Because it's third party.
Yeah.
So all right. Let's get off that for a second. I want to talk about kind of what we woke up to today with the so it's seeming like with these prices that are already set. I think it's $450 for the standalone, and then if you bundle Mario Kart World, that's $499. Am I right on that? Okay.
Correct.
So that's the price just went up just when you thought it was outrageous already.
Not today's price.
Insane work. So yeah, I'm not sure just how much. I know pre-orders have stopped until everything is situated. I don't know what the projected numbers are if tariffs go through, and I was shudder to think of what it is. Will that even after I found out the outrageous price of the Nintendo Switch before the whole tariff situation, I was like, it's crazy. It's more expensive than I thought it would be, but is it going to deter me from buying day one? No, because I was always going to buy a Switch day one, Switch 2 day one. But now that these tariffs are introduced, has that altered your thought process on buying one of these anytime soon?
For me, probably not. But I feel like I am the exception and not the rule.
Sure.
Because I'm fortunate enough to my wife put it into perspective today. She saw me all like down and gloomy because we were already planning how we were going to do this. I was like, I'm gonna try online. If that doesn't work out, you're gonna be near GameStop. You're gonna go and reserve it at GameStop, and then I'll keep trying online while you do. We had like a whole game plan, and she said, you're upset because there's the possibility that you don't have the opportunity to spend money. And that really put everything into perspective for me. I said, all right. I said, oh yeah, that's my situation. I know I'm the exception. I'm not the rule. I think about the folks that can't afford a $450 console. I think about the
Sure.
folks that can't afford an $80 game. I think about like the single parents that the kids are gonna be on Christmas. Hey, I want to switch too, and it's like, hey, now you're not even fighting scalpers only. Now you're fighting tariffs. Like we have to think about it. Japan, China, and South Korea are three nations that don't really get along too well, just historically, and they're united against the United States against these
Yeah.
tariffs.
Yeah. That's
So
very telling.
yeah, it sort of makes you think like if the price was 450 before all the tariff stuff, how much more is it going to be now? I could see the console being 500 for the base and 550, 560 for the bundled in. And people are going to say that's expensive, and it is. It really is. I can't downplay that, but I also saw a lot of people buy PlayStation 5 Pros. So I know the hardcore are going to be there, but still it's nasty.
Yeah, the enthusiasts are going to be there for sure, but I do think it's going to price out a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Which is why it's the same reason why same reason why Sony makes PlayStation 5 games as well as PlayStation 4 games. It's the same reason why
Yep.
Nintendo are going to do the same thing with the Switch. They're not going to stop making software for that bad boy. They're going to release games in tandem with the Switch 2 for the
Oh
for the
yeah.
previous console just for that reason. And it's gonna be like that for at least the next year or
Yeah.
two.
They're not
Um,
done. Yeah. Look
yeah,
at Pokemon.
yeah, for sure. And I'm too little, too late. But I am glad that game specifically that generation is getting a free update.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah. I'm happy about that, and we'll get it. We'll
yeah,
touch on the positive.
yeah,
I
we'll
don't want to just
definitely
shit on
yeah
everything. Yeah.
we'll
'Cause
definitely touch on that. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be it's crazy. Um,
yeah.
I personally don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if it's gonna alter me buying a console day one. I thought about possibly alternatives like maybe Steam Deck, maybe get into a little yo-ho business, but I've never been that type of guy. I don't want to be that type of guy, although it feels like Nintendo, at any
Uh,
point that they can are combating those
my
guys down to the
my boat.
GameCube.
Oh, yep. My boat is always docked, bro. I'm gonna let you know that. Look, and I'll tell you why. I grew up really poor. We're from the same place. You
We
see how it
are.
is out there, and I refuse to let art and entertainment be paid walled for just the people that could afford it. So and I don't care if people get pissed off. If a kid figures out how to pirate these Switch 2 games on their laptop, go for it. You deserve to go for it. I did it as a kid, and I said when I get to the position where I could buy these things, I'll do it. I'll pay it forward. But like books, games, movies, yo, get on that boat. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. Get on that boat. I'm all
And,
for it.
and you know what? Just to close out on that, and then we can get to the positive. What I said about gamers being very savvy consumers, they are also very vindictive, and
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the reception online, but the gamers are not with it, and out of
Did you
spite, out of
did you see
spite,
the treehouse? What they were spamming in chat? They were
yes,
spamming.
the
Yeah,
entire
so
time,
expensive.
yes,
Yeah,
to lower them prices.
so I look. I don't want to spend the whole topic. I don't want to spend the whole time shitting on it. But look, I'm thinking about it. Let's say the console is. I spent 500 for the console and the game. That's June. July has Donkey Kong, $70, right? And then there's another game in August. And I think what comes out in August is it Kirby, and that's another $80. I think we get one back to back to back. It's going to be one release every month, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, oh man, now I'm not just in $500. I'm in 570, right over, and just in the span from June to August. That's $700, and I'm not even thinking about like the Magic the Gathering cards that I would have buy, the Final Fantasy stuff, or the Pokemon set, the Destined Rivals. Things got expensive, man, really fast.
This is it, and these are just Nintendo titles. Forget the whole calendar year and the rest of the slate before we get to the big GTA of it all.
Oh my God.
It's an expensive year. It's an
Yep.
expensive. It's going to be an expensive year all around. But what I was going to say is they're going to find a way, just out of spite, to get some of these Switch 2 softwares running on
They will.
Steam
Yeah.
Deck or just because
They will. They will.
that's just the energy out there right now.
Yeah, no. One of the former PR people was like, "Yeah, this is a nightmare for Nintendo. They weren't expecting this, and
I
and,
saw
and
that.
they didn't see it. You could tell they were really like happy. Day one, they were until the prices dropped. They were like, yeah, they were. Everyone was praising it, and then we saw the prices, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
no.
they that's why they loaded you in the front end the way they did. Yet alone the tariffs the next day. All right, so let's and now that we've weeded our way out of that forest, that forest filled with twigs that look like witch fingers and the thunder and lightning, let's get to the rainbow at the other end of this. There is some pretty cool software coming out for this expensive hunk of machinery. Let's talk about it. We may not be buying all of these as they sequentially come out this year. We might want to spend this out. Might want to spread this out.
This is what we got to do. We got to go back to the 90s where you're like, yo, you get this game, I'm gonna get this game, and then like we'll swap. That's
for real.
So think about it. If we could look, I'll stop by your house. We'll link up our Switches, add each other to the family share. I'll pick up Metroid. You pick up that other game. We could borrow it for 12 days at a time. Return it and re-borrow it.
Yeah,
that's how you got to strategize it, bro.
Just keep all them shits in circulation, and just loan them out. We just like Blockbuster for the hood.
Exactly. Like, if let's say you, myself, and Joey, we all get a Switch, and he buys one game, you buy one, I buy one. I can loan one copy of that game to both of you at the same time.
Yeah, so, it's magic. It is pretty awesome.
But that's also how they're trying to pigeonhole us into buying digital games.
It is. It's like what is it? It's like golden handcuffs. It's like the Chinese death trap.
Yeah, the finger trap.
Yep.
That's exactly it.
So I got 5 games I'm looking forward to. I got a couple of games on here that I was looking forward to no matter what. But I'm gonna give you mine. I have them in order. You don't have to have yours in order, but I'm gonna hit you with one, and you hit me with one, and then we just rapid fire real quick, talk about why we like them, and then if you got something to add, jump right in there.
I think our number ones are both the same though.
It might be. It probably is. Let's see. 5 for me is that Dustbloods joint. I'm not a Bloodborne guy. I'm not even really a From Software guy, but I am falling in love with Elden Ring, and I am a Sekiro guy, and I did get to play Elden Ring Night Rain, and it seems like the game style to this is pretty similar, albeit a bit more competitive. And I just kind of love the bittersweet irony of Sony fans having to see this title, this kind of franchise, this spiritual successor live on a completely different console that's different from whatever video game tie they wear, their blue tie.
that was a flex.
It really was.
Only on Nintendo consoles.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Bayonetta. Remember that? That was a flex.
And it was like maturity too. It was like, you thought we couldn't get no mature titles on this Nintendo. Yeah.
I like that at number 5. I really do. My number 5, I have I think I'll say Donkey Kong.
Okay.
I would place it higher, but you'll see why I don't have it higher. But Donkey Kong looks great. Like the destructible environments look incredible. But what got me is that they took note from all the 3D Mario games that added 2D sections.
Yes.
So they gave us a little bit of Donkey Kong Country. But I missed Donkey Kong 64. So this is like a nice call back to that. I do love the new art style. Like they finally gave the guy personality. He doesn't look like just a random monkey.
I agree. The internet is like not feeling it, but I don't want to mind it.
I don't mind it. It borrows from like the classic design and a little bit from the movie. I'm excited for it. I saw a little bit of gameplay and some of the puzzles you have to like break pieces of everything's destructible. So it's like figure out the puzzle however you want. I'm excited for it. And he still says banana time, so I'm with it. That's mine.
So I know I gotta go to 4, but that's actually my number 3. So I'm just gonna talk about it right here.
Okay.
Yeah, everything is destructible. One of the things that I love about Donkey Kong is that he just feels. One of the things I want out of a 3D Donkey Kong is for him to feel just completely powerful. This looks like it's one of those games. I saw the treehouse. I saw him pick up a boulder. I saw him chuck it at a bad guy. I saw him pick it up and then just straight whack him with it. And I was like, perfect. I just see him slashing, slapping around things. I'm like, great. That's how I want Donkey Kong to feel. It looks like I love the humor. The humor is on point. It's like really like cartoony, eyes popping out of the head type deal. I've always felt like Donkey Kong has kind of been, even though it's like one of these staple franchises for Nintendo, it's kind of been trapped in the 2D space. And I feel like in order for it to grow, 64 was on the right path, and I feel like this is going back on that path. I love what they're doing with the 2D stuff, like you said, and yeah. I'm right there with you.
I'm a fan of it. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
4 for me is Metroid Prime 4, and that's just because I'm not a Metroid Prime guy. I had the first one for GameCube. This is before, I think it was probably my first person shooter, and so I just did not understand what I was doing too well until like Time Splitters Future Perfect, and then it all clicked for me. But the reason I'm feeling it is it just looks completely gorgeous. In 4K. It's like, wow, this is a Nintendo system. I'm not used to Nintendo looking gorgeous. I'm used to like an art style, an art direction, and that popping. But I'm not used to like graphical fidelity. I'm not used to like, wow, this is impressive looking. And I got that out of the gameplay. I got that out of just the footage they showed, and the new mechanics with the psychic stuff looks cool.
Okay, so I have Metroid Prime at number 2.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of the Metroid Prime series. I didn't appreciate it initially. I got Metroid Prime on the GameCube, and that summer I got it for Christmas. And that summer I played it. I was like, all right, whatever. But that summer I started pirating a bunch of Super Nintendo games because I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing. I was a Sega kid. Like I was full fanboy. And I played Metroid, Super Metroid, and I said, "Oh shit! It's Metroid Prime just in 2D." Metroid Prime takes all of the core mechanics of the Metroid games. I love the 2D Metroid games and transforms them into a 3D game where you get familiar. It's familiar, but it's also very different. But the reason I have it as my number 2 game is because I saw them playing with the mouse. Uh, that's my killer feature for the Switch 2 is the mouse.
Very impressive.
The way I play first person shooters, I get teased. I play with a PlayStation remote in one hand to control the movement, and a mouse in the other to control the shooting. So yeah, because it's just I hate using a keyboard for movement. It just feels more natural. So when I saw that, I thought to myself like, oh man, I'm not alone anymore. Like this is it. So I'm really excited for that, and for everything else you said. Like the graphics look incredible, the music sounded great, and everything looked like it was running at like a smooth 120. It wasn't like I didn't see 120 and then I saw 60. I didn't see a big variance, so I'm excited for that.
Same. So what was that? That was 2 for you. I did 4. I said my third. So what was your third?
My third would be this is the what is it? Blood Dusk Bloods.
Oh yeah, the blood. What is that? That's the Dusk Bloods.
That basically Bloodborne 2. The Sony fanboys, the ponies are like, nah, this is not Bloodborne, but it looked like a hunter on that little like horse thing. They got me with the little jetpack thing with whatever when homie started flying around the map. I said, oh yeah, I'm with it. I'm big into like the steampunk aesthetic. It still feels like that whole art style reminds me. It's always like all the From games have that feeling, minus Armored Core, that remind me of like Berserk, that really gritty horror. So I'm excited for that, and then it does have that feeling, that Night Ray feeling. So we'll see where that goes. I just the fact that I could take it on the go. adds another element of like,
Right.
okay. So I'm really pumped for that.
Yeah, that's a prospect. That's one of the things that I'm like waiting to get back into The Witcher 3. It's like I can't play The Witcher 3
Yeah.
in my seat. It's just it takes way too many hours. I can't wait to just have it on Switch 2 hardware. It has that 4.0 update and it runs really smooth. Can't wait to see what that looks like. To that same point, my number 2 happens to be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Which is hilarious because notoriously I have not beaten this game. I've owned it for quite some time. I've tried to play it again and again and again, and I saw 4K footage, and it wasn't even like it wasn't like game video capture. It was like a camera pointed to the TV.
And it was great.
It's literally the most beautiful game I've ever seen in my life.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So, I saw my younger brother play it on his PC. He had like pirated it and he put the 4K textures and all that, like all the mods. And it looked gorgeous then. But that's how it looks now on the Switch on like the native hardware. I'm excited for that, and I'm also happy. I found out that if you have Nintendo Switch Online, you don't have to pay for the 4K upgrades. I felt like they threw us a bone. They saw the backlash. They were like, "Oh shit, like, we got to do something." But yeah, no, I think that's valid. If you haven't finished it, that's the best way to play it. Tears of the Kingdom is that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm right at the tail end of it, and now I said, nah, I'll just wait.
Yeah, you have to now. And that's that's the other thing. Like, I think the other reason they made it free is because like they want to prop this up as like the definitive edition, the definitive way to play this game type deal. Because this is like their little masterpiece, magnum opus, what have you, for like the last generation.
Yep, it's $80 though if you buy it standalone. I don't get that. Back to the pricing, it just doesn't make sense to me, like how they're pricing things.
It's too old of a game to price that much. I don't care how much enhancements you're doing.
And then Donkey Kong's only $70.
Right.
I don't know. There's something weird going. And Street Fighter is $60. Something weird's going on.
The case by case base thing is weird. Something needs to be clarified. Yeah, very 90s. So I think we're up to number ones now, top ones. Why don't you reveal your number one? Because since you haven't said it and I haven't said it, I think I know what it is.
It should be Mario Kart World, but you're gonna get pissed off when I tell you what it really is.
What is it?
It's the new Pokemon.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my number one. It's not Mario. They treated us so bad last gen. And here I am, like, oh my god, I can't wait. Play Legends Arceus.
I don't care what you say, but once I saw the new battle system, I lost it. I said I could be the very best that no one ever was.
Look, man, I feel like that hardware has just held that whole franchise back for quite some time now. I feel like Sword and Shield was the definitive Switch game, Pokemon Switch game. I feel like that's as much as the hardware could do. And then after that I feel like Arceus was like, not a tech demo, but like, it was like, this is what we're aspiring to do when this new hardware comes out. Yes, we did.
Had this conversation. On the old podcast, we talked about it. We said, they're prepping for an MMO, and now I feel that more than ever with this new one. Because aren't they leaning into like the multiplayer also?
Well, I know they're leaning a lot more into Pokemon battles. I'm not sure if I don't know what the multiplayer element is.
I could have sworn I saw, and maybe I'm mistaken, and people in the comments, I hope they correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw something about like meeting up at a plaza with your friends and you could like free roam around with friends.
Oh, that would be
if they do that, man.
Like, I feel like Pokemon Company with this they're in a very unique position and it's going to be the 10th generation. That's a hallmark number, 30-year anniversary. They can do something really special by like enhancing, mixing up, making bringing this new formula into fruition with the mainline games. I know that I feel like Scarlet and Violet was like a half measure to like the expansiveness they want to do in the open realm of the Legend series. And now with this new hardware, there's literally nothing holding them back from this innovation. And you got Power World coming too close to your cookies.
I
too close.
This is why I love you, because you took the words out my mouth. I said, yo, they could just look, if they really wanted to be grimy, just go look at what Power World did and take some of that and say, hey, what are they gonna do? They're gonna sue Nintendo? like, what are they gonna do?
Like you should have did what we was doing and started getting some patents up while we was doing this.
Yup. So I'm glad you said that, because that's where my mind was going. It's like, yo, just look at whatever Power World did and sort of incorporate that, which makes me a hypocrite, because I was all like, I didn't care about Power World. It was weird, but I think they could do it. If they do it, it's a great opportunity to really push the series forward. And now they can't hide behind the crutch of like the hardware holds us back. They can't do it anymore.
Right. I feel like the hardware puts them in a unique position to make all of these projects, all of these half measures come into fruition. And also the thing that I did love about Power World, it did show the company that, don't get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Don't get, I understand that you're like one of the most like profitable franchises out there, but somebody can take your cookies from this particular sector where you make money easy. Easy.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's some upstart kids too. It wasn't even like backed by no.
It wasn't a Sony. It wasn't a Microsoft. It was just some random dudes like, hey, let's make this game.
Now, if one of these guys put some money behind it, made a new IP, fresh IP, even brought them in, put some real money behind that, who knows what could happen to your Pokemon?
Yeah.
So that's it. That was our 5. This was great. Tell the people where they can find you. Had a good time.
Thank you, sir. I miss doing this. So you can find me on YouTube, Game Dad Chronicles, and there I cover gaming, Pokemon cards, anything nerdy. I stay away from anime because I look at one of the giants, which is you, and it's like, if I can't match that level of sophistication when I speak of it, I'll leave it to you. I can't do it. And on Twitch, you can find me at sire_SAW. Sire's just Eric backwards.
Hey, listen, if that was too hard for you guys, trust me, the links will be in the description below. If you did not see any fancy graphics pop up when he said all that, that is, you blame editor Isaac for that. He was lazy that day.
Editing is a lot.
Yeah, editing, that's what slows up content. That's what slows it all up. Thank you, everybody. Please leave some comments below. Jokerman Uno signing out. Peace.